Chrisley knows best. Could Todd's previous arrests affect pardon? Could Chrisley knows best alum? Todd Chrisley's previous arrests affect him and his wife vetting a possible pardon. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been behind bars since January 2023, but their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, is putting up a fight. She is ready to take this to President Trump, but could she hit a wall? Keep reading for more details. Could Todd Chrisley's previous arrests affect pardon? Todd Chrisley was sentenced to 12 years behind bars after being found guilty of conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and tax fraud. His wife, Julie Chrisley, received a 7-year sentence, and they headed off to different prisons. In January 2023, Todd was off to Pensacola, Florida, whereas Julie headed to Kentucky. They both faced horrid living conditions which their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, set out to expose. She wanted the world to know how badly her parents were suffering and the conditions they were living in. Many had to remind her that this was prison and not a hotel. She was determined to do anything and everything possible to free them. Julie had a resentencing but ended up with a longer probation. Todd will soon be transferred as his jail is closing, but no one knows where he will land. Savannah claims that the warden wants retaliation against Todd. So anything is possible, but she is actively working on getting her parents a pardon. However, fans have noticed that Todd has a history of arrests and wonder if that could affect his chances of being pardoned. According to Chrisley Knows Prison, which was shared on a Reddit thread, he was arrested in 1988 for simple assault. That was followed up in 1993 for shoplifting, and then in 1995 for a fraudulent check. That same year, Todd Chrisley was arrested for obtaining property by false pretenses. This all went down in South Carolina, and it is unclear if they remained on his record or affected his sentence. So will this affect Todd and Julie being pardoned? Apparently, they do look at arrest history, so it could be an issue. Questionable fate. Being pardoned will take a lot, and Savannah Chrisley has gotten her ducks in a row. She has worked very hard and tirelessly to get close to President Trump. More so, she is desperate for him to hear her pleas regarding her parents and pardon them. After seeing Todd Chrisley's previous arrest record, did followers think this would impact his chances? Seems the Chrisleys are career criminals. Interesting. Thanks for posting this, Savannah. How you been a spin this one? Does Sassy know this? If not, I sure hope someone fills her in. I'm wondering why a previous criminal past hadn't been publicized during the trial. All of these items on the list are typical of someone having to have their way. Another person noted that Todd had allegedly stolen a jet ski several years back, but could not show any proof. It will be fascinating to see if this is a hindrance to the pardoning situation. Todd Chrisley has always been a man of contradictions, charismatic yet controversial, a strict Southern father yet endlessly entertaining. For years, he and his family have lived under the public eye, navigating wealth, scandal, and reality TV stardom. However, in recent years, Todd and his wife, Julie, have found themselves entangled in legal troubles that have overshadowed their once glittering empire. As discussions of a possible pardon for the couple circulate, one pressing question remains. Could Todd Chrisley's previous arrests and legal history come back to haunt him? The Chrisleys' legal battle. Todd and Julie Chrisley were convicted in 2022 on federal charges of bank fraud and tax evasion. Prosecutors argued that they had orchestrated an elaborate scheme to falsify financial statements and obtain millions in fraudulent loans. The Chrisleys, who have always maintained their innocence, insisted that they were victims of a vindictive former employee who sought revenge by fabricating evidence against them. Despite their appeals and a vocal campaign by their children and fans, Todd and Julie were sentenced to 12 and 7 years in prison, respectively. Yet, with the ever-evolving landscape of presidential pardons and legal reprieves, speculation has grown that Todd may seek relief from the highest office in the land. However, this brings us to a potential stumbling block: Todd's past. Todd Chrisley's legal history. While his current case is by far the most serious legal battle he has faced, Todd Chrisley has had brushes with the law before. His past, while not littered with violent offenses, includes financial disputes, lawsuits, and allegations that could be scrutinized if he were to seek a pardon. 1. Financial troubles and bankruptcy. Todd's financial woes have long been public knowledge. In 2012, he filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, citing nearly $50 million in debt. This filing, while legal, raised eyebrows given his extravagant lifestyle showcased on Chrisley Knows Best. Critics argued that Todd's financial decisions indicated a pattern of deception, an argument federal prosecutors later echoed in their fraud case. While bankruptcy itself is not a crime, the way Todd managed his finances could factor into the broader discussion of whether he deserves clemency. 2. State tax evasion case. Before his federal conviction, Todd faced legal trouble in Georgia over alleged state tax evasion. In 2019, Todd and Julie were accused of failing to pay state taxes for several years. The couple ultimately settled the case, paying a reduced amount, but the allegations painted a picture of a pattern of tax-related offenses. A presidential pardon typically only applies to federal crimes, but a history of financial misconduct, even at the state level, could weigh against his case. 3. Previous arrests or allegations. Though Todd has not been arrested for violent or drug-related crimes, past lawsuits and financial disputes have created a paper trail of legal entanglements. Any previous brushes with the law, even if they did not result in convictions, could be brought up by opponents of a pardon. Prosecutors and government officials reviewing a clemency application often consider an individual's full legal history, not just the conviction they are seeking relief from. Could Todd's past affect a pardon? Presidential pardons are often granted based on a combination of legal merit, public support, and political strategy. If Todd were to seek a pardon, several factors could influence his chances. 1. Pattern of behavior. A major factor in pardon decisions is whether the applicant's criminal history suggests a pattern of unlawful behavior. While Todd's previous legal issues may not have resulted in serious consequences before, they could suggest to some that he has a history of financial misconduct. Prosecutors could argue that his federal conviction is part of a broader pattern rather than an isolated incident. 2. Public perception and media scrutiny. Public opinion plays a crucial role in high-profile pardon cases. The Chrisleys still have a loyal fan base, but their conviction also has detractors who believe they engaged in deliberate fraud. If the media focuses on Todd's past financial troubles, it could make a pardon politically risky for any administration considering it. 3. Political considerations. Pardons are inherently political. If Todd can generate enough public sympathy, a future president might consider granting clemency. However, if his past legal issues paint him as a repeat offender in financial matters, political advisors may steer clear of endorsing his case. The road ahead. Todd and Julie have continued to fight for their freedom, with their children speaking out about the perceived injustices of their case. While appeals are ongoing, the idea of a presidential pardon remains a long shot, especially if Todd's past financial and legal troubles are used against him. For now, Todd Chrisley's fate rests in the hands of the justice system, and perhaps in the court of public opinion. Whether his previous arrests and legal missteps will block a potential pardon remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: The Chrisley family's legal saga is far from over.